Last week we were able to read Sandra Cisneros' short story called 11. I really like that story for a lot of reasons, but one of the things I like about it is that it really takes some time and tells some details in telling the story of one event that happened in a little girl's life. One event. I know what she was thinking. I know how she was feeling. I know what kids around her said. I know what her teacher said. But it's all just about one event in her life. So this week we're going to focus on creating a personal narrative. You are going to write a story this week, only this is going to be a true story. Okay? Now, let's think about 11 just for a second. That story or the event that happened might not have actually been a huge life-changing event. It wasn't a giant trip that she took. It wasn't a near-death experience. It wasn't um, to anybody else, it might have been something that was no big deal, right? So when we ask you to write a personal narrative, I don't need it to be something that's any big deal. I'm more focused on your storytelling than I am on the actual event that you're telling about. Like, I want to see how you describe things. I want to see how your writing makes me feel. Are you using that imagery? Can I smell what you're smelling and see what you're seeing and taste what you're tasting? These are all going to be super important things. And here's a big hint. All of that stuff doesn't usually happen the first time we write something. Authors everywhere will tell you it's not about the first time you write. It's about the rewrite and the changing of what you've written and adding of details and making things a little bit better every time. So be ready to take a piece of writing and work on it for a little bit. This isn't about writing a paragraph, turning it in, and being done. That's not it. Okay? It's going to be super important that you watch your videos every single day this week so that you know what to do. If you don't watch the videos, you're going to think you have to fill out an entire assignment in one day, and I'm using an entire assignment to give you a week's worth of work, okay? So you have to watch the video to know how much you're supposed to do. I'm going to show you what I need you to do, and then you're going to have time to go and do that portion of the assignment for yourself for that day, okay? This will make more sense when you can see, so hang on just a second. So this week you're going to have an assignment called Writing a Personal Narrative. We're going to open that assignment. I want to show you what I need you to do. This is called Personal Narrative Planning. We have to plan, okay? Read along with me. A personal narrative is focused on a single event from a writer's life and is supported by details that emphasize the significance of the experience. What makes that what makes that experience important, and telling the details of that experience so other people can experience it with you. You will plan your draft here in this sheet and then write it in a Google Doc and submit it as an assignment. And we'll get to all of that later. I know that's really confusing right now, but I promise I'll tell you what to do every step of the way. This essay should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's going to be more than 3 sentences. Welcome to 5th grade where we write real stories, okay? This is going to be a significant piece of writing. It should recount or retell an experience, and whoever's reading your paper, your reader should grasp the essential point, like what was the lesson that you learned or what was the outcome of the event from your narrative, okay? And when you read this, you should have your email address here because that's how I know who's turning in the paper, okay? So it's important to read and understand that. We're going to click Next. What makes a good personal narrative? This is what I need for you to do. It says each of the following elements contribute to a good personal narrative. Check each box after you read it. Guys, this question is simply, hey, tell me that you've read this sentence. But that means you have to read the sentence. And this doesn't count that I'm reading it to you. I want you to go back and read them again. A good personal narrative will take the reader step by step through the experience. You won't leave me out of any part of your experience. A good personal narrative uses imagery to describe in detail. The reader wants to smell, touch, taste, hear, and see elements of the story unfold. Now, after I've read these, I can check the box. I read it. This has to do with that imagery that we were talking about last week, allowing the reader to really be in the moment with you. A good personal narrative incorporates, it's a big word for uses, dialogue, action. Let's go back. Dialogue is simply written conversation between two characters. You won't just say, then this happened, but let me watch it happen. Let me hear what your characters have to say. It will incorporate or use action and figurative language. So those similes and that imagery that we've been talking about. And that's all of those things are going to work together to drive the plot, to push your story forward. A good personal narrative does not have to be 100% truthful. If bending the truth effectively enhances part of the experience, then that is encouraged. I don't want to give you limits, really. I almost said that I wanted you to make sure that it was believable. You want people to be part of your story, so don't. Sometimes bending the truth of what really happened makes for an even better story, but it isn't always necessary. So you decide what would work better with your story. In other words, you have creative license. You are the artist for this piece. You write it the way you want it to have happened. A good personal narrative has a clear reversal of fortune. A reversal of fortune is when something that has been one way suddenly changes. A reversal of fortune can be a good thing or a bad thing, actually. Maybe everything has been going terribly wrong and your car broke down or your house caught on fire and your dog ran away and you got your socks wet when you were trying to put your shoes on, and then all of a sudden, a reversal of fortune, you won the lottery. That's an amazing, ridiculous reversal of fortune, right? But things changed. So that's what makes a story good, when this is happening and then this is happening, and then all of a sudden, and it might be quite the opposite. It might be everything's going great, and then all of a sudden, something terrible happens. So a good personal narrative has a clear reversal of fortune. Okay, so the first thing you have to do when you pull this up is read through those sentences. Yes, again, it'll be good for you, and check them off. And here's what we're doing today. You're going to choose from the topics below to guide your writing. After reading about your choices, you'll go to the checkbox menu and select at least 3 topics you think you might use. So you've been given 9 different options here. And whatever is written here is shortened and written there. And when you're done, you're going to choose 3 of these things, 3 of the things you've read about that you think I could write a story about that. So, number 1, think about a family, friend, or relation that you admire. It should be someone who is a role model for you. Think of a time when they did something that showed their kindness or other good qualities. Number 2, think about a time when you had to do something you didn't really want to do. It could be a chore, a family day, or something in school. Write about one time when you were surprised at how much fun you had doing this. Something you didn't think you wanted to do, and then when you did it, you were like, oh, okay, that was pretty awesome. Think about a time you did something special with a brother, sister, family member, or friend. Sharing this event made you realize how close you were. Write about what made this time special. Think about a time you were surprised about something that happened to you. It could be a happy surprise or a disappointment. Write about the event. Think about a time you succeeded at something that was hard for you to do. It could be something you finally learned how to do at school or in a game. It could also be a new way of behaving at home. Write about what happened the day you changed. Your family celebrates special events such as birthdays, holidays, or other special events. Choose one family event, choose one special event, and write a story about it. You have been on many field trips while at school. Choose one and tell a story about what happened on that trip. You have learned many things since you started school. We're not talking about like for the last 2 weeks. We're talking about since your first day of preschool or kindergarten until now, okay, for both of these. Tell a story about one thing you learned while you were at school that you're still using today. Think about a day when you were very happy or very sad and write about what happened. Now, please do not send me an email that says, none of these things have ever happened to me, because that's not true. And I promise you, when you send me those emails, I will never go, oh, well, then you don't have to do the assignment. That's never going to be it, okay? Your job in school is to do some thinking, and things are not always going to be easy. So please don't waste your time sending me emails like that. Okay. Nothing embarrassing has ever happened to me. Well, that is awesome. I don't know how you've made it 10 years without ever being embarrassed about something. A burp that slipped out when you didn't know it. I mean, we all have embarrassing things happen, right? So don't do that. Choose three, or at least three. You could choose four. If anything, if you thought about anything, if it sparked an idea in your head as you read through any of these things, then choose them. I want you to have at least three. Okay, so here is the condensed version, the shorter version of what we just read. Choose at least three of these things that you think I could write about that. I could write about a field trip. Oh, I could write about someone that I admire. I could write about a time I was surprised. Oh, I could totally write about that Christmas. Okay, so I have four things. I'm done. Um, maybe I maybe I haven't done something special with a brother, sister, family member, so I'm probably not going to choose that one. Or maybe I can't think of something that I did and enjoyed that I didn't really want to do in the beginning, so I won't choose. You choose three or four or five. I don't care. Just three or more. Okay. Then what you're going to do is come down here below, and of the things that you've chosen, you're going to end up writing about three of them. Just a sentence or two, but listen to my words. They should be sentences. We are fifth graders. We don't write things with just one word. We never answer a question with IDK because that's not a word, and we're not texting. We're in school. These are things that make Miss Gilbert crazy, so please don't do that to me. Thank you. um, I'm going to look at this first one. A family friend that I admire. A family or friend that I admire. Using the information above, brainstorm one important incident or event in your life. Why is it important to you? So this is for the first one that I'm going to write about. And a person that I admire is my dad. Now, my dad had a disease called polio when he was very young. So he does not... he has one leg he can't move on its own. He still walks because he can use his hip and swing that leg forward. And he wears a brace so that it will help hold him up. But he has a very serious limp. And that's how I've always known my dad. I've never known him any other way. But as an adult, I look at all the things he has accomplished in his life. He's never let having that handicap has never stopped him from doing anything he wanted to do, except for snow skiing, because he couldn't control where that leg went. But he tried. He still tried. So I'm going to write, I think I would like to write about my dad. So he's someone I admire. So it says, brainstorm one important incident or event in your life. Why is it important to you? I want to write about a friend or a family member I admire. I'm going to write, I really admire my dad. His handicap has never gotten in his way. He does everything anyone else can do. Now, that's not a specific event, but I know who I'm going to write about, and I know why I admire him, and I can start thinking about an event that I want to use. So I'm going to look at another incident or event in my life. Let's see. A time I was surprised about something that happened to me. Let's see. I was, again, I'm going to write in complete sentences. I was very surprised when I was invited, sorry, can't spell, to lead a music camp in Honolulu. It was my first time to that state, and I loved every minute of it. Okay, so the surprise was being asked to go to Hawaii, and there were so many other surprises that went along with that. I think that would be a fun life event to write about. Let's see, another one that I think I would like to write about. A family event such as birthdays, holidays, or other special events. I'm going to write about Easter. Easter is one of my favorite holidays. I always spend Easter with my best friends who live in Pennsylvania. they come visit every Easter. And with that comes a ton of traditions and exciting events and things that I could really think I could tell a story about that. So even though I have checked 4 topics here, I chose the 3 that I thought I could make the best story out of. And I just brainstormed a little bit about each one. Okay? And that's all you're doing today. So your assignment for today, read through each of these again, check them off. Read through these 9 options, choose at least 3 of them here. Of the ones that you choose, write a couple of sentences about each one and how you could turn them into a story. Okay? And that's it. I don't want you to do anything else today. So when you're done, you'll just close out this window. You will not submit it. Okay? And the hope is it should be when you click on it again tomorrow, this stuff will still be here and then we'll move on. Okay? All right. If you have questions or concerns or frustrations, send me an email and I will help you out. All right. Let's start brainstorming.